Welcome to the Cozy Storytime, your peaceful space to unwind and relax. Before we start, make sure to subscribe and like the video for more cozy stories every night. So, where are you watching it from? And what are you doing right now? I hope you enjoyed this story. Tonight, I invite you to settle in, let your shoulders drop, and take a deep breath. The rain might not be falling where you are, but in this story, it trickles endlessly against dim windows, reflecting neon lights and secrets long forgotten. Let the sound of your breath be like that gentle drizzle, steady, calm, ever present. This isn't just another mystery. It's a slow jazz lullaby from the heart of a sleepless city, where shadows lean close and whispers matter more than shouts. You're not here to race through clues or chase gunfire through alleys. You're here to feel, to drift, to step inside a world where the music never really stops and the truth hides in smoky corners and half-sung verses. Let yourself be carried. Let go of your day, whatever weight it brought, and trade it for something softer. Picture yourself walking under a street lamp that hums like a saxophone in the distance. Your coat pulled close, your thoughts gentle and untangled. This story will guide you into a night soaked in reflection, where every raindrop feels like a note on a piano played slowly, soulfully. There's no need to think too hard. Just listen, like you would to an old friend telling you something they almost forgot. It's okay if you close your eyes. It's okay if you drift off. That's what this story is here for. To bring you closer to sleep, one quiet word at a time. Ready? Let's step into neon tears. The rain hasn't stopped for hours, maybe days, but in this city, no one really keeps track. You're standing beneath the rusted green awning of a closed tailor shop, collar up, smoke curling from the end of your cigarette. The drizzle doesn't bother you anymore, not after all these years. Neon signs flicker across the street in sluggish pulses, their reflection caught in the puddles at your feet like smeared paint, blue, pink, red. The rhythm of the rain becomes a kind of heartbeat for the city, a slow, tired one. A saxophone wails faintly from a second-story window somewhere behind you. You don't need to look. You already know which song it is. It's always the same, a lonely tune for a lonely night. You feel the weight of your coat tugging at your shoulders, as if the whole city were leaning on you. And in some way, it is. You're not anyone special here, just another name on a door that no one really wants to knock on unless they've got nowhere else to go. You flick the ash from your cigarette and watch it vanish into the wet sidewalk. Just as you're about to head back to your office, or maybe the bar, whichever feels less empty tonight, your phone buzzes. It's a deep vibration in your coat pocket, the kind that feels heavier than it should. You glance at the screen. Unknown number. Of course, you answer anyway. A woman's voice, low and steady, speaks with just enough pause to let you know she's been crying. "Mr. Lane," she says, and you instantly know it's not your name she cares about. It's what you do. She's gone. Lana Blue vanished after her last set last night. No calls, no messages, just gone. You don't reply right away. You let the silence stretch. It's a trick you picked up a long time ago. People tend to keep talking when you give them room. They say she left like usual, but I don't believe it. Someone knows something. I want you to find her. The line clicks dead before you can say yes or no. But it doesn't matter. You're already turning your collar up a little higher. You've never met Lana Blue, not in person, but you know her voice. Everyone does. It pours out of club reverie every night, spilling into the street like perfume and honey and cigarette smoke. Her voice has the kind of ache in it that makes grown men drink slower, makes women cry quietly into napkins, makes the world feel a little softer just for 3 minutes at a time. She doesn't sing songs. She confesses. And last night was her last confession, apparently. As you walk past shuttered shops and sleeping taxis, you replay what you've heard of her in your mind. Fragments of lyrics and whispers in smoky lounges. No one knows where she came from. Some say New Orleans, others swear Chicago. She never tells. She just sings. And now she's disappeared into the rain, like she was made of mist all along. You don't like mysteries that come wrapped in glamour. They always have something rotten at the center. The club isn't far. You know the route by heart, even if you've never walked it with intention. This part of the city is a half-forgotten echo of what it used to be, gilded edges dulled by years of rust and regret. Club Reverie sits at the corner of 9th and Dalloway, under a neon sign that hums louder than the street lamps. A silhouette of a martini glass flickers above the door, its pink light reflecting off the rain-slick pavement. You stop just short of the entrance. From here, the music is barely a memory, like a ghost pressing its face to the window. Lana's voice is absent, and somehow that makes the night feel heavier. The bouncer nods at you. You nod back. No words needed. He knows what you are. You step inside, and the warmth hits you like velvet. Thick air, soft lights, and the scent of bourbon and old secrets. The lounge is half full, just enough people to mask their own loneliness. You don't stop at the bar. You don't order a drink. Not yet. You just stand there for a moment, letting your eyes adjust. Everything inside Club Reverie is dim, gold-hued, and slow. Time moves differently here. Even the ceiling fans seem to turn in half speed. The stage is empty, save for a lonely microphone and a red stool, still angled the way she left it. That kind of detail matters. You take in the room, the dark corners, the shadowed booths, the faint lipstick stains on half-drunk glasses. You look for the manager, the owner, anyone who might have seen her last. But you already know what they'll say. She left like usual, no fuss, no goodbyes. But that's the problem with stories in this city. They're always a little too rehearsed, a little too smooth, and nobody smooth ever tells the whole truth. The carpet muffles your steps as you move deeper into Club Reverie. Everything here is velvet. Velvet seats, velvet voices, velvet lies. The music that once filled this space now exists only in memory and the lingering echo of last night's final notes. You pass the bar without a glance. The bartender, a young man with slicked hair and a tie too tight for comfort, watches you, the way prey watches a shadow in the tall grass. He knows why you're here, even if he pretends otherwise. You nod once. He doesn't nod back. That's fine. The less eager they are, the more they're hiding. The place smells like bourbon, cheap perfume, and something sour underneath, like regret soaked into the walls over years. You feel it clinging to your coat, trying to whisper to you in voices that aren't quite there. You find the owner behind the curtain that separates the main lounge from the office corridor. He's exactly what you expect, sweating through his shirt, gold rings too large for his stubby fingers, a forced smile stretched across a face that's forgotten how to mean it. His name's Delmar Voss, but everyone just calls him Boss. He doesn't offer his hand. You wouldn't take it if he did. "Detective Lane," he says, voice like gravel under whiskey. "Tragic business, huh? Real shame about Lana." His tone is smooth, too smooth, like butter over a knife that's already bloodied. You lean against the doorframe, arms crossed, eyes steady. "She didn't say anything before she left?" you ask. Delmar shrugs, too casually. "Said she'd be back tomorrow. Always says that." He looks past you when he says it, like he's watching someone else's lie unfold. You step into his office without being invited. The walls are covered in framed photographs, black and white memories of brighter times, all of them featuring someone smiling beside someone who's probably dead or gone now. Lana's in a few of them, always off-center, always looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. You notice a record player on the desk, needle resting in its cradle, and a half-empty bottle of something expensive sitting beside it. Delmar follows you in, reluctant. You watch him light a cigar with trembling fingers. "You got regulars?" you ask. "Anyone always hangs around her?" He exhales slowly, as if trying to buy time with smoke. "Plenty of admirers, sure. But Lana wasn't the type to let people close. Kept to herself." He's lying, but not completely. Half-truths are his currency. You circle the office once, brushing your fingers lightly across a photo frame. Lana again, this time with a man in a grey suit, his face obscured by shadow and smoke. You point to it. "Who's he?" Delmar glances over and shrugs. "Could be anyone." You don't press, yet. Let the silence stretch instead. Eventually, he starts talking again, just to fill the void. "Look, she's gone off before. Took breaks. Needed air, you know." You shake your head. "Not like this." Delmar's eyes flicker. He knows you're right. Something in his posture shifts, like a man realizing the walls are getting closer and the ceiling's starting to leak. You leave him to his cigar and his sweating lies. There's more truth out on the floor. You can feel it. Back in the lounge, the lights are dimmer than they should be, but the shadows help people lie easier. You scan the room. There's a couple in the far booth, too close for comfort, whispering behind martini glasses. A man in a trench coat nursing his drink at the bar, his eyes fixed on the stage like he's trying to summon a ghost. You head for the bartender. He flinches slightly when you approach, but holds his ground. "She didn't say much," he offers before you even ask. "Lana, she wasn't the talking type." You nod toward the back. "She usually leave alone?" He hesitates. His hands are polishing a glass that's already clean. "Mostly, except last night. Last night, she waited." That word sticks. "Waited for who?" He bites his lip. "Didn't see, but she was tense, smoking out back, pacing, like she was expecting someone who didn't show." You step out through the kitchen into the alley behind the club. The rain hasn't let up. It taps against metal bins and trickles along the gutters like it's been following you. The smell out here is worse. Grease, wet cardboard, stale smoke. But the quiet tells stories. You find a crushed cigarette butt with red lipstick. Lana's brand, the kind with a faint vanilla scent. A torn napkin near the dumpster, smeared with what looks like eyeliner, and a single word. Midnight. Could be a note. Could be a meeting time. Could be nothing. But nothing doesn't usually wear lipstick. You pocket it. The rain traces lines down your face like the city's trying to cry for her. You light another cigarette, stare up at the sky, and wonder if Lana was looking at these same clouds just before she disappeared. Back inside, the pianist has started playing. You recognize the tune. It's soft, slow, and familiar. Neon Tears, Lana's signature song. The kind that wraps around your ribs and squeezes. You sit at the edge of the bar and let it play. People start to drift toward the music like moths to a dying flame. No one talks. No one dares. They just listen. The bartender places a glass in front of you. Neat. No questions. You don't touch it. You're not here to drink. You're here to feel the cracks forming beneath the floorboards. Every note from the piano feels like a question without an answer. Every beat tells you the same thing. This place is lying. And someone in here knows exactly why Lana Blue vanished into the rain. You stay at the bar until the last note fades into the rafters, leaving behind a silence that's somehow louder than the music. The pianist closes the lid over the keys with a soft thump, stands, and walks off stage like a man who's just buried someone. You follow with your eyes, noting the stiffness in his gait, the slump of his shoulders. There's something in the way he moves, like the music took more out of him than it gave. He disappears through the side curtain, but not before glancing your way, a flash of something flickering behind tired eyes. Regret, maybe, or fear. You rise from your seat and make your way across the room, weaving through tables still warm from elbows and secrets. The club feels colder now, as if Lana's absence left a crack in the foundation. You slip through the same curtain, chasing the ghost of that glance. The backstage hallway is narrow and smells like dust and forgotten perfume. Framed posters line the walls. Lana's name in cursive gold, lit by the faded bulbs above. You run your fingers over one. Her eyes in the photo are half-lidded, voice caught mid-note, mouth just slightly open. She always looked like she was singing something she could never say outright. At the end of the hall, you find the dressing room door slightly ajar. You knock once, but it creaks open on its own. The pianist sits at a vanity cluttered with old makeup cases and empty wine glasses, his back to you. "I figured you'd come," he says, voice brittle, like old piano wire. You close the door behind you. "Then you figured right," you reply. He nods slowly, not yet turning around. "She was scared, you know. That last week, she kept checking the exits, left during intermissions, wouldn't take cabs anymore." You wait for more. It comes, but slower now. She said something was coming for her. You step closer, watching him in the mirror. His reflection doesn't look up. "What did she mean?" you ask, voice low. He exhales, shaky. "I don't know. But the music changed. That last song, Neon Tears, it wasn't just another performance. She wrote new lyrics, quiet ones, down in the mix. You'd miss them if you weren't listening hard. You nod. I heard them. Something about burying her name. He finally looks up, eyes rimmed red. Yeah, said she wanted to disappear before someone made her disappear. He pulls out a cassette from the top drawer. She gave me this after the show. Told me to keep it safe. You take it gently. No label. Just a black shell. Blank as a lie. You play it? He shakes his head. Didn't dare. Felt like a goodbye. You slip it into your coat pocket. It's heavier than it should be. You step closer, watching him in the mirror. His reflection doesn't look up. What did she mean? You ask, voice low. He exhales, shaky. I don't know. But the music changed. That last song, Neon Tears, it wasn't just another performance. She wrote new lyrics, quiet ones, down in the mix. You'd miss them if you weren't listening hard. You nod. I heard them. Something about burying her name. He finally looks up, eyes rimmed red. Yeah, said she wanted to disappear before someone made her disappear. He pulls out a cassette from the top drawer. She gave me this after the show. Told me to keep it safe. You take it gently. No label. Just a black shell. Blank as a lie. You play it? He shakes his head. Didn't dare. Felt like a goodbye. You slip it into your coat pocket. It's heavier than it should be. On your way out, you stop once more at the stage. It's empty now, the microphone unplugged, the spotlight off. You wonder if Lana stood here that last night and knew she wouldn't come back. Maybe that's why the song sounded different. Not sadder, resigned, like a prayer left in a cracked church. You remember her voice that night, how it trembled near the end, lingered just a second too long on the final word. You didn't catch it then, but now it plays over and over in your head. Not a note off key, just final. You step down from the stage, feeling the quiet like static in your ears. The club isn't just missing a singer, it's missing a heartbeat. Whatever Lana uncovered, whatever she feared, it started here, beneath these dim lights and mirrored walls. The rain hasn't let up, and when you step outside, it soaks through your collar in seconds. You walk without thinking, past shuttered stores and fogged glass, down alleys where puddles reflect your silhouette like a question mark. You reach your office before you realize it. The building is old, the kind of place where ghosts come to rest and leave fingerprints on the windows. You climb the stairs slowly, feeling the weight of the tape in your coat like a stone. Inside, everything smells of old paper and yesterday's coffee. You sit at your desk and pull out the cassette. No label, no hint of what's inside. You slip it into your player and press and play. Static at first, then a hiss. Then her voice, clear, unaccompanied, like she's in the room with you. Whoever hears this, she begins, voice low and steady. I want you to know, if I vanish, it's because I got too close. The club's not what it seems. None of them are who they pretend to be. They think they've buried it, but secrets don't stay buried forever. Her voice cracks barely. He warned me, told me to sing and keep quiet, but I couldn't. There's silence, then a single line of melody, hummed. It's Neon Tears, but different, slower, almost mournful. Then a final whisper. Tell the truth, even if I can't. The tape clicks to a stop. You sit in the silence that follows, heart pounding. Lana didn't just vanish. She was erased. Someone made sure of it, but not before she left a trail. You light a cigarette, exhale toward the ceiling, and replay her words in your head. The club, the people around her. Someone warned her, someone threatened her, and someone had something to lose if the truth came out. You grab your notebook and scroll down a list of names. Delmar Voss, the bartender, the pianist, the man in the grey suit from the photograph. You circle the last one twice. You've seen enough shadows in your life to know which ones don't move quite right. You lean back in your chair, letting the smoke curl upward, eyes on the ceiling as the rain taps against the window like fingers begging to be let in. The song is stuck in your head now, not the version the city knows. The other one, the hidden one. And you're starting to understand why she sang it the way she did. Morning never truly arrives in this part of the city. The sky just gets a little less dark, trading black for bruised grey, like a smoker switching to menthols. You watch the clouds shift through your office window, the world outside tinted by the film of grime clinging to the glass. Somewhere, a siren moans, distant and tired. You haven't slept. Not really, just drifted in and out of thoughts, half lulled by rain tapping like Morse code on your sill. The cassette still sits on your desk, its silence louder than anything playing on the streets below. You reach for your lighter, flick it, and let the flame dance while you think. Lana knew someone was watching. Maybe everyone was. But she left her voice behind, not just to haunt, but to guide. That whisper, "He warned me," keeps circling in your mind like smoke with no source. You decide to start with the man in the photograph. The one standing beside Lana, face half hidden in shadow, presence too calm to be casual. You pull out the copy you took from Delmar's office and study it again. There's something odd about the body language. Not closeness, but control. His hand rests behind her shoulder, not touching, just hovering, like he's used to being in the frame but not in focus. You take the photo to a contact, Marcy, a retired tabloid photographer with a memory like a steel trap and a Rolodex that never made it to the digital age. Her apartment is above a pawn shop and smells like developer fluid and peppermint tea. When she sees the picture, she squints, tilts it, and hums. "That's Victor Sable," she says finally. "Used to bankroll jazz clubs uptown. Moved in quiet, moved out quieter. Word was, he got into trouble with someone bigger." You press her for more, but that's all she gives. Enough to go on. You leave with a name and a direction, your coat a little heavier. With wet air. Victor Sable. A man who disappeared before Lana. Maybe she followed his trail, or maybe he never really left. You head to one of the clubs he supposedly owned, the Cinder Room, a place that burned down 5 years ago but still casts a shadow on the block it used to occupy. What's left is a boarded shell, walls blackened like lungs after a long life of bad choices. But the bar across the street remembers him. You step inside, order nothing, and nod toward the bartender. She raises an eyebrow, wary but interested. "Looking for ghosts?" she asks, wiping a glass that doesn't need wiping. "Looking for Victor Sable," you answer. She exhales, sets the glass down gently. Ain't heard that name in a long time. And most folks who asked about him didn't ask twice. You sit, give her space, and let her decide if she wants to talk. After a while, she does. He was always quiet, but never invisible. Liked to sit in the back. Watched the stage more than the dancers. Watched the exits too. Lana came around a few times. Said she didn't trust the people paying her. You lean in. She say why? The bartender shrugs, but there's weight behind it. Said they wanted her voice, not her soul. Said singing for them was like dancing on a wire that kept getting thinner. You leave her a generous tip and a napkin with your number, in case memory strikes again. Outside, the rain picks up, and the wind turns mean, biting at your cuffs like a jealous lover. Victor Sable, Lana Blue. One vanished in flame, the other in fog. And both trails point towards something rotten buried under rhythm and velvet. Back at your office, the tape plays again. This time, you listen with headphones, isolating the faint layers beneath her voice. In the bridge, just below the strings, there's a whisper. Not part of the lyrics, not melody. You amplify it, slow it down. The words are faint, but sharp. They know. He told me. The man in the grey suit watches from the dark. You freeze the playback. Grey suit, the photograph. It wasn't just a moment. It was a message. She was leaving clues in the only language she trusted, music. You make a note. She wasn't just afraid, she was documenting. And whoever she was documenting had been close enough to hear her whisper it. You stare out the window again. The rain hasn't let up. Doesn't seem like it ever will. And you're starting to think the city itself doesn't want this secret unearthed. You pull out your case notes, scribbled and disorganized, but growing sharper with every hour. Everyone in that club had a role. Delmar Voss runs the place, but he's scared of something, or someone above him. The pianist knew more than he admitted, but at least he handed you the tape. The bartender saw things but won't say unless you earn her trust. And then there's the regulars. Background shadows, easy to ignore but always watching. You think back to the man at the bar that night, trench coat soaked, eyes glued to the stage long after the music stopped. You decide to find him. People like that don't come for the drinks or the ambience. They come to remember or forget. Either way, they don't leave unless pushed. You spend the evening tracing old haunts, clubs, bars, even a rundown pool hall near the river until finally you spot him. Same coat, same posture, same 1,000-yard stare aimed at a jukebox playing songs no one's dancing to. You sit beside him, say nothing. He doesn't look your way, but his voice reaches you like a match struck in a dark room. "I saw her leave," he says, "last night or the night before. It all blurs now." You wait. Let him speak. She wasn't alone. Man beside her, tall, gloves on his hands even though it wasn't cold. He held her elbow like she was glass. She didn't fight, but she wasn't calm. You ask him what the man looked like. He shrugs. Didn't look at him, just felt him. Wrong kind of silence around him, like music dies when he walks by. You walk out into the night again, thoughts colliding in your mind like billiard balls without order. Lana wasn't just scared of fading away. She was scared of being silenced. Permanently. The man in gloves. Victor Sable. A voice that told too much. A club built on secrets and performances. You light a cigarette, watch the ember glow, and whisper her name into the rain. Lana Blue. She tried to warn you. Through notes, through whispers, through static. Now it's your turn to listen louder. You find yourself walking toward the pier, following a hunch born not of logic, but of rhythm. The kind that lives in the gaps between heartbeats and footsteps. The city here smells of rust and salt, where the ocean fights back against its concrete prison, and the fog curls around lampposts like it's eavesdropping. You pause beneath one, staring into the mist where shadows twist into strangers. There's a sense that someone's been here before you recently. A cigarette still smoulders near the edge, crushed but not cold. You crouch beside it, fingers brushing the ash. Clove, Lana's favourite. She used to light them before every set, claiming it cleared her voice. You stand slowly, spine tense. Someone else is still watching the stage. Only now, it's yours. You hear him before you see him, barely. Footsteps like paper whispers, shoes that touch the ground but never greet it. You turn your head just slightly, catching the glint of polished leather under the dim glow. A man stands 5 paces back, umbrella angled to hide his face. His coat is clean despite the rain, almost too clean, and his hands, gloved in black, hang at his sides like quiet threats. "Looking for ghosts?" he asks. His voice is smooth, frictionless, the kind you could slip on if you weren't careful. You don't answer. He takes a step forward. "They say she was troubled," he continues. A beautiful voice, tangled in the wrong melodies. You finally speak. Troubled voices don't vanish. They get silenced. A pause. Then he smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Semantics," he says. You keep your eyes on his gloved fingers. They twitch once, then still. There's no weapon in sight, but something in the air crackles like it knows better. "You knew her," you say. It's not a question. He tilts his head, faintly amused. "Everyone knew her," he replies. "The club, the city, the rain." His umbrella shifts slightly, enough to reveal the lower half of his face. Sharp jawline, a scar beneath his chin like a signature. You've seen that face before. Not in person, but close, on the edge of a newspaper clipping half torn, in a photograph Lana kept inside her lyric book. Victor Sable. He's supposed to be gone, burnt up in the cinder room fire. But the man before you looks very much alive. "You died," you murmur. He smirks. "Only the parts that matter," he said. He turns his back to you and begins walking toward the edge of the pier, his silhouette folding into the mist. You follow. The creaking wood groans beneath your steps. "Why Lana?" you ask. She wasn't a threat, just a voice. He stops, then turns slightly, enough that you see half his face in profile. "And that's exactly why," he says. Voices carry. They slip through walls, through locked doors. She sang too close to the truth. You edge closer. What truth? He exhales slowly. You think the club is about music? No, it's theatre. A place to keep people distracted, make them feel something so they don't ask questions. But Lana, she asked. She listened when others didn't, and she remembered. His voice is quieter now. I told her to stop. You step beside him now, both of you facing the sea. The water is black glass, interrupted only by the shimmer of distant lights. She recorded everything, you say, even you. His jaw tenses just slightly. Then she sealed her fate, he replies. You pull the cassette from your coat and let it dangle from your fingers. She wanted this to be heard. He doesn't move. Then play it, he says softly. Let the world decide if they believe a ghost. His voice has no urgency, no threat, just finality. Like someone reciting the end of a story they've told too many times. You slide the tape back into your pocket, heart pounding. You think fear buries truth, you say, but it only makes it grow underground. He doesn't argue. He just looks out to sea. For a long moment, you both stand there, two figures in a painting that no one will ever hang. Then he speaks again, voice almost too soft to catch. She wasn't supposed to matter, he says, just another songbird, but she made people feel hope. His eyes close for a moment, and you catch it then, the flicker of something human, something broken. Hope ruins everything, he whispers, and with that, he turns and walks back into the mist. You let him go. There's nothing left to say. Not yet. You light a cigarette with shaking hands, watch the ember flare, and let the smoke carry the weight of that conversation into the sky. You walk the long way home, boots splashing through puddles that reflect city lights like fractured constellations. In your head, Lana's song plays again. Not the version she sang for crowds, but the one she sang for herself. Slower, sadder, secret. You think about how easy it is to erase someone if they sing softly enough. You reach your office just as the sky lightens to that strange pre-dawn colour, where grey turns to silver and the world pretends to wake. You sit at your desk, open the drawer, and pull out the backup tape Lana sent you weeks ago. You hadn't dared play it then. Too raw, too real. But now you need to hear everything. You slide it into the player and press play. Her voice comes through like a memory, fragile but determined. This recording isn't a song. It's a confession. She names names, talks about backroom deals, coded messages in music sheets, clients who paid not for performances but for silence. And then she says it, clear and resolute. If something happens to me, look for the man with silent shoes. He's the one who decides who gets to sing and who vanishes between verses. Your breath catches. She knew. All of it. The game, the rules, and the consequences. But she sang anyway. And now, the song is yours to finish. You replay Lana's confession 3 times before you let the silence settle. Her voice lingers in the room even after the tape clicks off, like the ghost of a final note refusing to fade. She wasn't just warning someone, she was orchestrating a legacy. The names she spoke into that recorder weren't ordinary. They were veiled kings and quiet queens, hidden behind glitter and gin, wrapped in suits sharp enough to cut through scrutiny. She didn't name Victor Sable directly, but the trail led straight to him. Every step, every breath, every verse, she knew he'd follow. She knew someone would have to decide whether her truth was a melody or a threat. You rub your eyes and listen to the rain tap on the window like a slow applause for the dead. You've spent your life chasing answers, but this case has turned that chase into a waltz through shadows. You dress slower than usual, letting your tie hang loose, your shirt wrinkled just enough to feel lived in. Today isn't about appearances, it's about confrontation. There are a few hours left before the city begins to buzz with the mechanical drone of morning ambition, and you intend to use every second. You return to the club, not as a customer, not as a detective, but as someone bearing a voice that refuses to be forgotten. The blue veil is quiet when you arrive, the kind of quiet that clings to empty stages and heavy curtains. Only the bartender is awake, polishing a glass out of habit more than need. Her eyes meet yours, and this time there's recognition. Not just of who you are, but of what you carry. "She told you," she says softly, more statement than question. You nod. She trusted the wrong people, but she made sure the right ones would hear her after. You sit at the end of the bar and place the tape recorder down gently, like it's something sacred. The bartender eyes it warily, as if it might start bleeding or speaking in tongues. "You know what'll happen if you play that here?" she asks. You meet her gaze. Nothing, at first, but it'll start something. She leans on the counter, voice hushed. "They'll come for you. Not just him. The others. This club's built on silence. Every drink paid for with something not said." You exhale. Then it's time someone screamed. She pauses, then walks to the back. When she returns, she hands you a small silver key. "Booth 5. The sound system still connects. No cameras in there. Just memory." You thank her and head to the booth. The small room is untouched by time, velvet-lined and faintly smoky even without a cigarette lit. You slide the cassette into the deck and press play. Lana's voice fills the space, not singing this time, but telling stories with teeth. She speaks of contracts written in invisible ink, of performers who vanished after singing too close to something real. She talks about Victor without saying his name, calls him the one who watches from behind the lights. She describes the gloves, the smile that never reaches the eyes, the sound of a lighter flicking before every conversation. Your hands tighten. He wasn't a myth. He was the curator of silence. And she defied him. Midway through the recording, you hear something that chills your spine. A muffled knock. Lana pauses, whispers, "He's here," and the tape ends. Abruptly. You rewind, listen again. Same thing. She knew she wouldn't get the whole story out, but she got enough. You step out of the booth, and the bartender meets you in the hallway. Her face is pale. "Someone's here," she murmurs. "Back table. Didn't order anything. Didn't take his coat off." You don't need to ask. You know who it is. You walk toward the stage instead, grab the mic from its cradle. Your heart thuds like a kick drum, but your voice is steady. "This city loves stories," you begin, looking out into the empty seats. "And the best ones don't end when the music stops. They echo, even in silence." The mic crackles. You see movement in the back. A shadow rises. Victor. His silhouette unmistakable now, umbrella resting like a cane beside him. He doesn't speak, but you feel his stare. You hold up the tape. She left her truth behind. She trusted someone would find it, not to avenge her, but to finish her song. He steps closer, slow and calm. "And what if the song ends badly?" he asks. You meet him halfway. "Then let it end honestly." The club holds its breath. The bartender disappears into the back, too smart to stay in the open. You and Victor stand near the stage now, two phantoms with different regrets. "You don't understand," he says, voice almost weary. "She could have stayed quiet, could have lived." You shake your head. "She chose to matter." You lower your voice. "I'm not the kind of man who wins fights like these, but I don't lose them either. Not when the truth already walked out of your reach." Victor looks at you, long and deep, like he's trying to find a lie in your bones. Then he smiles. Not cold this time, but something sadder. "You've already played it, haven't you?" You nod. "And not just here." He laughs once, a dry rustle. "She always was smarter than me." Then he turns and walks back toward the door. No threats, no promises, just the quiet resignation of a man who realizes the music has outlived him. When he's gone, you sit at the edge of the stage. The rain outside begins to lift, as if the sky has finally cried all it can. You take out Lana's cassette and slide it into your coat. Her voice is out there now. You've sent copies to 3 stations, left one in a safety deposit box, and mailed one to a reporter who once lost her job for asking the wrong questions. It's no longer a mystery. It's a chorus waiting for the city to listen. You light a cigarette, let the smoke curl toward the ceiling, and whisper a thank you into the empty room. Lana Blue didn't vanish. She evolved. From a singer to a signal, from a voice to a movement. And somewhere between the cracks in this city, someone else will hear her and decide to keep singing. The morning sunlight doesn't arrive in the city the way it does in gentler places. Here, it bleeds slowly through the high-rise blinds and dances off puddles that still shimmer with neon remnants from the night before. You sit in your office, the blinds half open, watching the street wake up one broken yawn at a time. The city's heartbeat is slower now, almost thoughtful, as if it knows something has changed but hasn't figured out what yet. You sip from a chipped mug, black coffee cooled to the temperature of regret. On your desk, the tape recorder rests in silence, the cassette rewound, but never forgotten. You run a thumb along its surface. It's strange how something so small can carry the weight of someone's truth, how a voice can survive longer than a body when wrapped in magnetized plastic and memory. You lean back in your chair, letting it creak beneath your shoulders. The case is technically over, but there's no final report to file, no judge to present it to, no handcuffs or headlines. Just whispers in alleyways and knowing glances from people who once refused to look. You didn't bring Lana back. You didn't even stop the man behind the curtain. But you dragged his shadow into the light, and now the world has to decide what to do with it. That's all anyone can really hope for in a city like this. To tilt the scale a little. The phone rings once, then stops. No one leaves a message. You don't answer. You already know what it would say. Either gratitude wrapped in fear, or a warning in polite tones. Both sound the same over a bad line. The knock at your door is soft, hesitant. Not the kind of knock that demands attention, but one that asks permission to exist. You open it to find a young woman standing there, holding a newspaper folded under one arm. She's barely 20, hair tucked under a rain-damp hat, eyes too tired for someone her age. She doesn't introduce herself, just holds out the paper. The headline doesn't scream. It never does. Just a sub-column, third page. Disappearance of jazz singer sparks questions about city's nightlife. It's enough. A seed. She smiles faintly and says, "She was my aunt." Then she turns and walks away, boots echoing softly down the hall. You stare at the headline again, then fold it carefully and place it beside the recorder. It's starting. You visit the club that night, not for answers, but for echoes. The Blue Veil is quieter than usual, the energy more subdued. There's a new singer on the stage, a man with a voice like weathered silk and eyes that have seen too many farewells. He doesn't sing Lana's songs. No one does, not directly. But the melody he plays flirts with her memory, borrowing notes from her favorite scales. The bartender nods when she sees you, slides a glass your way without asking. The scotch is smoother tonight, or maybe your throat has learned how to swallow grief more gracefully. You listen, not just to the music, but to the way the room breathes. People talk softer now. They glance toward the stage with reverence. It's not mourning, it's respect. You step outside for air midway through the set. The rain has stopped, but the pavement is still slick with memory. Across the street, someone leans against a lamppost, smoking with one hand and hiding the other in a pocket. At first, you think it's Victor, but then you realize the frame is too narrow, the stance less certain. A copycat? A follower? You don't approach. You've learned that some shadows prefer to linger where they're safe, and sometimes their silence is louder than confrontation. You light your own cigarette, let the smoke rise between you like an invisible conversation. You nod once. The figure nods back. Then he walks away, disappearing into an alley Lana once used to cut through on her way to the club. Nothing in this city dies. It just changes costumes. Back at your office, you begin to pack away the case. You don't file it because there's nowhere for it to go. No one requested it. But you place it in a box anyway. Photos, the tape, Lana's lyric sheet with scribbles in the margins, a drink token from the Blue Veil, a napkin stained with lipstick you never confirmed was hers. You label the box. Neon tears. Simple. Honest. You place it on a shelf behind a row of unsolved files, not because it's unresolved, but because it belongs among the stories that dared to fight silence. Some cases end with handcuffs. Others end with a room full of people humming a tune they can't quite place. This was always one of the latter. You wake later than usual the next morning. The city feels softer somehow, like it took a breath while you slept. No gunshots, no screams under sirens, just the quiet rustle of trash swept up by wind and pigeons negotiating over crumbs. You walk down to a small diner Lana used to mention in passing. You've never been here before, but the waitress smiles at you like she's been waiting for weeks. "Corner booth," she says, motioning you over. There's already coffee on the table. You sip it slowly, watching sunlight stretch across cracked linoleum. On the wall, an old jukebox hums softly. You slide a coin in, press C7. You don't know the title, just recognize it as something Lana once whistled while tying her hair. The tune that plays isn't loud. It isn't famous, but it's hers, or something that used to be. Someone else in the diner hums along, then another. No words, just a melody carried by memory. You close your eyes, just for a second, and picture her there, shoulders swaying, cigarette perched on her lips, eyes scanning a crowd that never deserved her. She isn't gone. She's just quieter now. Folded into the corners of the city, in smoke and neon and the silence between verses. And you carry her forward. Not as a mystery to be solved, but as a story to be remembered. A final verse written in rain and whispered just before dawn. Thank you for joining me tonight in the gentle rain-soaked rhythm of neon tears. I hope the echoes of this quiet city, its secrets, its music, and its moonlit mysteries have helped ease the noise of your own day. Sometimes, it's not about solving everything. It's about letting go, letting the story carry you like a slow jazz tune through the dim glow of midnight. Whether you stayed with me through every word or drifted off somewhere along the way, that's okay. This space, this time, was always meant to meet you wherever you are, in thought, in stillness, in sleep. As you breathe a little deeper now, let the last notes of Lana's voice fade softly into your thoughts, like the final piano keys before the club lights dim. Maybe her song will linger with you as a dream, or maybe it will settle beside you like a memory you never lived but somehow still remember. That's the magic of stories told in whispers, in rain, in velvet-lined silence. They don't demand. They simply offer. And tonight, I offered you a glimpse into a quiet world where not all endings are loud, and sometimes closure sounds like a slow, fading melody. Wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, know that you're not alone here. The night is long, but it's not empty. It's full of voices like this, soft, steady, waiting to guide you back to yourself. And I'll be here again, with another quiet story, another gentle step into sleep. So if your eyes are heavy, let them close. If your heart feels full, let it rest. You're safe now. And when you wake, the world will be new again. Good night. Sleep well. And may your dreams be lit by soft neon and the calm hush of rain.